Creativity and inventiveness. I think both kind of feed off each other in some ways. The word inventiveness really reminds me, however, of someone like being able to like see things and then that aren't necessarily related and being able to put them together quickly in a really interesting and unique way, and being able to think on your feet of novel ways of using a certain object or putting ideas together in a way that hasn't been done before. Creativity feels kind of more encompassing. It's kind of like, I don't know, the land of creativity almost. It's like this great skill that we all are born with and possess, but sometimes is forlorn and left behind as an adult. And I think it's really important that we continuously try to foster our own creativity and take care of it. It's kind of like a pet dog or something that lives within you, I think, and you have to like really say hello to it every day, take it for a walk, spend time with it, you know. Even though typically we would view creativity as a word more associated with the arts and inventiveness something more associated with the sciences or tech, I actually think that they're kind of should be used interchangeably in either field. Unorthodox element to me means kind of your personal creative streak or talent that you own that nobody else has. Unorthodox element ideas are always unorthodox, basically. They're always not conforming, they're not normal. I think they're kind of leaping off the page, these crazy ideas that other people might think is a bit bizarre. But sometimes that's some of the best art I see are like ridiculous paintings or like statues that I'm like, what is going on? But those are the ones that really make you think, and you can interpret whatever art that the artist has created in a variety of different ways. I think once you find your unorthodox element, it's kind of up to you how personal you want it to be, or if you do want to share it with everyone. Art is usually made to be shared and celebrated, interpreted, consumed by others. However, it can also be a very personal and private thing that you just keep to yourself. For example, I could argue that the writing in my diaries that I've done for like 12 whatever years is very personal, and I don't know how much of that I'd want to share. But some other art that I've created, I'd be like, yeah, I'll post it online, yes, I'll share it. However, I think social media kind of encourages exhibitionism to some extent, where you share too much sometimes. So I think nowadays every artist should really think about how much of themselves and their art and their unorthodox ideas that they want to share. Generally, when I am speaking to a group of people or I'm posting on social media, whatever it is, it's because I very viscerally feel like I need to share this message, and it hits an emotional part of my heart that goes, I want other people to pursue their passions, no matter what area it's in. And I think the saddest thing to me really is when I see someone that I knew when I was younger and they were so good at this skill or this part of art, and then as an adult they've just completely abandoned it and not pursued it at all, and are unhappy in some ways because they didn't pursue what they loved when they were a kid. So I think no matter what I'm speaking about, whether it is science, art, creativity, you know, all of that, I think my base purpose in speaking and sending a message is just like, be proud of whatever you're passionate about and do it. And don't filter yourself or hold back, because you only have one life. I think when you're still looking for your unorthodox element, it's really important just to try as many new things as possible, have as many new experiences, you know, go to a tap dancing class, I don't know, or go to a rock climbing class, whatever it is, try things that are outside of your comfort zone. I think the times that I've grown the most as a person and really learned about things that I really love and really hate is when I just do things that terrify me. I think the best metaphorical story I can tell about this is I was really lucky a couple years ago to go on an icebreaker ship that was sailing around the Arctic And for 2 weeks I was on this icebreaker ship with a bunch of other Canadians, all of whom I did not know initially. And one day we stopped off the coast of somewhere. Like we literally like sailed through the Northwest Passage, so we went like deep into the Arctic. And they were like, oh, we're gonna do the Arctic dip, which is basically where you jump off this very high and huge icebreaker ship into the ocean. And I'd never done cliff jumping. I like sucked at diving. I was like, oh, I don't want to do this. I was like sitting in the cabin alone in the ship, and then this guy came to the doorway and he was like in his flip-flops and like about to go jump, and he just asked me, are you living? And I went, yeah, like I'm alive. And then I thought about it and I went, no, I'm not. Like I'm not trying things that are outside, like this amazing opportunity is right in front of me and I'm not taking it, so I'm not really living in that way. So I went and I changed, and I was like lined up on the edge of the ship, and it's very tall, I forget how many feet it was. I was beside like an Olympic athlete and like the ship's photographer, and I was like, okay, well if I die, it's a good way to go. And then I was about to like be like, oh, actually I don't want to do this, and then we were all holding hands and they all jumped off the ship. And as soon as I hit the water, it was so cold, it was freezing, and immediately your body goes into like survival mode of like, I must get out of the water. I need to like swim towards the ship and climb up the ladder again. And as soon as I submerged and I was like fighting to get up, and then I crawled towards the ship and walked back up, and I had never felt that sort of feeling of being like refreshed or like reborn or like Christianed in some way, symbolically by the Arctic waters, and being like, wow, like that is something that absolutely terrified me, and I did it, and now I feel kind of like open to anything. All those times where I've taken risks and done things where usually I was like, oh, you know, that's a bit scary, like, oh, I don't know how I feel. Anytime I've done that, I've grown so much and learned so much. So for anyone looking for their unorthodox element, I highly encourage you just do the things that scare you a little bit, or the things that are outside of your comfort zone, because you'll just learn so much about yourself. You'll usually never regret it, and perhaps through those experiences, you'll get a better idea of who you are and what you want to spend your time on. And usually what you gravitate towards spending your time on when you don't have work is a good indicator of the types of interests you have or where your passions may lie, other than like watching TV. For any of you who have found your unorthodox element and are now looking to be like, well, what do I do next? I think my best advice would just be to try and spend a little bit of time every day on it. Even if it's just like 15 minutes and you don't have quality time or energy to do it after work, consistently working on what you love and what you're interested in, it will pay off in the long run big time, because if you're just working a little bit every day, then all these ideas are constantly mulling in the back of your mind as well, and will pop out at sometimes unexpected moments. I always carry around a small notebook and pen in my bag, because I never know when I'll get the idea that I've been mulling about for maybe a month, and then suddenly it pops up and I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I want to make. When it comes to making mistakes, you don't realize that you're growing as you're going through it, but then when you look back, you're like, actually I was growing through that mistake, because here I am now and I'm still standing and I'm doing well. I think there's so many ways for us to release our emotion healthfully, and to be able to move past things that have happened. And that's another great reason why people should come to Unorthodox and do activities here, because it is very therapeutic. Art is very healing. I mean, we are all creative people. Like, as a species, humans have creativity and critical thinking, and that's something that not all animals have developed to the same extent as ourselves. So the thing that we should be doing while we're on Earth, other than like enjoying life and living and working and traveling, is really embracing our creativity and fostering it and treating it almost like another person that we live with every day.